Hey guys, this is Vincent with vascotoys. On today's episode of Action Vasco, we're going to take a look at a Resident Evil commission diorama that a client in Long Island, New York commissioned. They specifically wanted the Raccoon police station diorama. So with that, let's take a look at the reference pic that we used to create this one. Alright, now let's take a look at the diorama. So here's the custom Resident Evil Raccoon police station that I created for Albert in Long Island, New York. Specifically, I think he's from West Islip. But he reached out because he wanted to look at getting a Resident Evil diorama, and he actually reached out to DJ's dioramas on Instagram, who referred him to me. So thank you so much for the referral. But he was looking to get a Resident Evil display that he wanted to use with his 6-inch figures. I'm not sure if they're the Resident Evil figures that are coming out soon or if they're figures he already has, but regardless, he needed it for a specific size. So this diorama is pretty long. It's 30 inches across, and then it is 6 inches deep, and it's about, I think it's 13 inches high. So it was a bigger project, and it was something that I was very excited to do and appreciative of the referral on. So with that said, we'll take a look at a couple of the features, and I'll do a couple of pose shots in here and show you guys all of that. So with this diorama, like many of my recent dioramas this year, I have a couple of 3D printed parts that I put into this. So just gonna break those down here in this shot. So the first one, the feature of the whole diorama, is the RPD Raccoon police sign. So this is 3D printed with my King Rune KP3, and it's printed with PLA filament, and it was designed in Tinkercad. Very simple design. So I thought it would be the easiest to get that 3D printed, and then I just painted it in black acrylic paint as a base, and then I painted with a heather gray Anita's paint around the letters and the outline of the Raccoon police sign. So that's the sign, which I'm very happy with the way that came out. Then I have these door handles, which are also designed in Tinkercad, and same setup with the RPD sign in terms of printing and printer. These are doorknobs that I had used before. I really like the design. They're already scaled for 112, so they work really well with these sorts of things, so I included them here. Then the other two 3D printed, well, actually, there's a couple other 3D printed pieces. So this, I guess, I don't know, above the door area, the outline part is 3D printed. The outline of the door, this kind of rectangular sectioned piece on each side of the door, is 3D printed. And then I also did the window frames because I thought it would add a little bit more character than just putting the windows flush with the foam. So I included those here as well. And then the last thing, probably one of the most important pieces, would be these light fixture covers with these balloon lights. I'm actually going to show you guys in another shot in a few minutes the design of these, because he's getting some extra pieces and some extra lights just to make sure that he has replacements if these run out. So those are 3D printed. And then the final piece of 3D printed material is also this piece that is kind of like a decorative facing piece for above these two window panel areas. So those are all the 3D printed parts with this. So I don't have any Resident Evil figures, and actually, some of you seeing this might want to slap me for saying this, but I've played Resident Evil before, but I'm not like myself really familiar with all the games. Like I've definitely played some of the earlier ones, but so I don't collect the figures. It's not one of my most played video game franchises. But anyway, I wanted to get a few shots of different figure setups in here, and this is a super simple one using the NECA Dutch figure from the Predator line that they did. I mean, I think it works well enough here. He's got a couple of guns and looks like he might be ready to fight some zombies, so I put him in here. But he, he's I think a little bit bigger than a 6-inch figure, but he still scales well in here. So if you have figures that are slightly bigger, it should work well. The other couple things that I wanted to mention about this diorama that I didn't mention in the 3D printed little segment that I just did is how I made some of this other stuff. So I'll start at the top. The vents or grates, whatever you want to consider these, are sewing mesh that I think was black sewing mesh, and I just really did a dry brush of some silver, and I purposely left like some areas more heavier than others, just to kind of give an effect of wear or grime, any of that sort of thing. And then these pieces outlining the sign and the vent areas, those are just skinny project foam that I cut into place and put in hot glued. And then the pillars themselves, I was considering trying to make those out of foam, which I haven't done before, and I consulted Sage DG D on Instagram, who's one of my friends and one of the best that I've seen with the pillars made out of foam. So I asked him how to do it, and we were talking through some things, but just from a time perspective, I had a couple of paper towel rolls, so I decided to hot glue the paper towel rolls into place. I cut a couple of pink insulation foam pieces using a hot wire table, and then I also cut project foam to give it that pillar look, so I'm really happy with the way that came out. And then the other portion of this is these, I guess they're supposed to be like some sort of either decoration or support beams that are on this Resident Evil police station if you look at the video game screens. So I just created those with skinny foam and hot glued those in as well. The last piece of this, which is pretty common practice that I did, was I used, I just, for the door, it's insulation foam board that was just cut out and then pushed in and hot glued so that it looks like there's a bit of an indent. For me personally, I think sometimes people will do doors where they don't indent or they don't have some level of character. And I think if everything's on the same plane, it doesn't look as realistic, and I think it gives more interest when you actually do either indent or have them, even if you have them coming out a little bit, if there's a door frame around them, I think that works out well. So that's what I did there, and then just kind of painted up the doors with different shades of green, and then I also included some brown and even some black that I sponge brushed to try to make it look like a subtle enough grime on the doors that wouldn't look too in your face, and that could also still show up when you have the lights turned down and the door lights on. And I forgot to mention too, I'll show in another shot, these windows are all backlit, so we'll take a look at those next. Okay, so I put snake eyes in here just to give you guys another look at this with another figure in it. But really for this shot, I just want to show you guys two things. All of the windows are backlit. The two, right now I have the LED placed right behind the door, so you'll notice that's a little bit more lit up than the ones on the side. But if you had multiple lights, you can put them behind there and it'll really give a good glow effect. It's just that, right now I only have the one because I'm using my other light to light the video. So right now that's the back, what the backlights effect looks like. And then the other thing is the two little balloon lights that I have in here. So I turn those on, and just to give you guys a look at what it looks like if you want to recreate a nighttime scene. I am shooting this video during the day, so right now it's not as dark as it could be. It doesn't look as cool as some of the photos that I have in this video, or even the transition shots that I include, because I shot those separately at nighttime. But with the backlit windows and the door lighting, I think this looks really, really cool, and I hope you guys do too. And with that said, we'll finally take a look at the design and the makeup of how this came together. Okay, so I mentioned a couple times that I was going to show you guys this setup here on these lights that appear above the door. So I purchased a pack of these balloon lights on Amazon. I think I got 100 of them for, I want to say it was like 12 to 15 bucks. And so the way that these work is that when you take the tab out, they light up. Sorry, this isn't super in focus. So they light up when you take the tab out, and they only turn off when you put the tab back in. So when I was designing the light fixture, I needed to keep that in mind. So here's what I ended up doing. This is the unpainted PLA piece so you guys can see. So I've got the light fixture, and it has a little tab that you can see, and again, sorry for the focus, that you can stick that little tab through. And so if you permanently glue the balloon light into this piece, then you're able to put the tab in, and it will actually stay in place even when it's not glued if you have the tab in, but if you take the tab out, it falls apart. So I have in the diorama, I have the balloon lights permanently glued into the PLA light fixture, and then I did spray paint them black just because I thought that would look better. So I'm gonna do the same thing with these and give him extras just in case those run out, because I just got these. This is the first project I've used them in, so I don't know how long they last. So I just want to give him an option to be able to replace those. And then the light fixtures themselves are slightly pegged into the foam, and then they're hot glued. So he would be able to remove those and hot glue in the replacement pieces if he needed to do that. So here's just another shot for you guys with Snake Eyes posted up here, like he's using that column as a way of blocking someone from seeing him or shooting at him. So like I said, the diorama is 30 inches long, so there are some cool angles that you can get with this. And I think because of the way the focal area with the door and the sign works out, I think there's a lot of like background interest that you can get with this diorama using your angles. Thank you guys for joining me on this episode of Action Basco, where we took a look at my Resident Evil commission diorama. If you like this video, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you get notified when our new videos post. Other than that, please continue to follow along with us at vascotoys on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. See you guys next time.